Hi, I'm Milkie.
I'm Sam, we are Wargasm, and you are listening to Rhino Radio.
Woo.
Of Rhino Radio here, and today, through the magic of the internet, I have the honor of speaking to the Trantinos of the music scene. How you doing, Matt and Milkie of Wargasm?
That's a pretty good intro, to be honest.
Yeah, you accept that?
The Trantinos of the music
Yeah, we'll take that. We're good, mate. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm really excited. First of all, you got a lot of great music coming out recently, some videos, and if I'm mistaken, you're actually on tour? How is it possible?
So currently we're on like this digital tour, supporting Youngblood. So it is our sets are all pre-recorded, but it's got kind of a live feel to it. We popped down to a venue in East London and Oslo for 2 days, and we just spent 2 days just bashing out loads of live sets. You know, changing the set list a bit like that. And got our friend down to like video it. Then all the recordings were the actual live takes. You know, so it's basically as live as you can get it without like showing up and playing every night.
Yeah.
And how does it feel for you? On one hand, finally playing. On the other hand, it's not really the way that you used to.
It's
interesting having a live comment stream on your live sets. You know, usually if you play a gig, the people who like it the most will be the most vocal. But obviously on the internet, it's complete opposite. So the people who don't like it are always going to say, don't like this, don't like this, don't like that.
It's quite nice people tweeting you being like, you were really good tonight. And you're not sweaty, and you didn't have to carry any equipment upstairs.
I'm not
That's
sweaty.
nice.
My arms don't hurt. I'm not covered in bruises.
All the
blood.
compliments of any of the work.
But still, you're not going to replace the real thing with that.
No, not at all. But you know, in terms of what you can do at the moment, I mean,
it's a pretty good substitute.
It's not just that; it's like better than nothing. It feels kind of like something. It doesn't. We don't like it when bands try and do this thing at the moment where they try and like make up for the holes in their year in their live circuit with things that like they try and make it as like that as possible. It's not like that. It's never going to be like that. So the idea of like a digital tour rolls out every night in different locations. It's nice because it is different. It doesn't feel like you're doing some like shit watered down version of touring because you're not. You're doing like
a completely different thing altogether.
Yeah, it's a proper tour. It's just a digital one. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I'm not going to get used to it too much. I still cannot wait to catch you live. But I'm enjoying the recent releases. The latest one is Rage All Over. And I know that as a rising band, you probably get this question a lot. So I'm going to avoid that, especially because I think talking about genres will just take some of the enjoyment of getting to know your music. So I'm going to send whoever's new to music to your YouTube page to enjoy the music. But I want to ask you, do you think that the age of definitions and genres, do you think that it's dead? Should we stop talking about definitions?
I always say this. I always say, you know, there's so many subgenres of like every single genre. Every genre has a subgenre, and people try and like fit into a certain thing when in reality there's a lot more like genre flow nowadays. When you know you can be more than just one entity. You don't really.
But you
have
could have always been
just
one.
I know, but people like to put a label on everything.
Oh God, yeah, that's yes. So you know what you're listening. I've got to be honest. I think anyone who goes, you know, genre's a dead word. We don't need the word genre. Don't pigeonhole it. I think that's fucking stupid because genre exists. It's not an important word. It's not like if someone goes, your band is metal, you're not allowed to do indie.
Yeah.
Nothing stops you. It's just when someone goes, what kind of stuff do you do? Genre is a brilliant word, and all the subcategories are fucking brilliant because you can explain what you do by using 2 words. You don't have to go, I sound like these 7 bands mixed with these 9, mixed with those 14. You can go, oh, it's a little bit like new metal punk pop, and they're like, oh, I get it.
I am on the other side though. If someone says, what kind of stuff do you do? I prefer to list like influences and people that we maybe sound like, rather than saying we're new metal mixed with a bit of like pop melodies and a bit of rap and a bit of like hardcore and shit, because I feel like it's a confusing mix in some people's brains.
No, just know your genre's better. But the thing is, the difference is nothing. If you want to say your influences instead, having the word genres and subgenres and stuff like that doesn't stop you saying that. I just can't remember the last time I saw an interview with like a new band that was breaking that thought they were all big and clever saying genre is a dead word, we don't need it. Like the word genre is some sort of fucking enemy. It's a fucking word. Like, use it if you want to use it. If you don't want to use it, don't use it. I mean, it works wonders for the entire metal community because everyone pissing on about genre and stuff like that made death metal. Everyone pissing on the genre death metal made groove metal. And everyone pissing on groove metal made new metal. So arguably, if people want cunts about the word genre, You wouldn't even have new metal. Leave genre alone. It's just a word. It's a good word. It's fun. It's fun.
I love it. The discussion keeps on. So we're going to see where it takes us.
It would never stop if you didn't stop us.
Leave the word alone.
Well, I want to talk about 2020. You had massive plans. You were supposed to be playing Download, The Great Escape. You had a European tour with Holding Absence that got pushed to next year. With obviously the obvious aside, what filled you with the rage this year? Again, we're not talking about tour plans and Corona. What was the most annoying thing this year for you?
I mean,
my dog died. That made me pretty fucking angry.
My cat died.
Both our pets died, and we were just really sad and angry for like a long time after that.
Yeah.
So that didn't help.
I was less angry and more sad.
And then also, just kind of the obvious shithole state of the world.
I've never written politically before, but Rage All Over was like 100%. Ironically, Rage All Over was written at like the way that like Conservative government was handling everything. With the whole UK lockdown and the way they were just like shitting on people. And it was one of those things that, you know, you shouldn't pretend you're some sort of like political scientist or analyst because you read some things on Facebook. But the sad thing is if there's some very simple solutions that like a dumb fucking musician who like, you know, who's got fucking frosted tips can see, why can't our trained, expensive politicians see it? So we done that track. And that was in like April, maybe, late March, early April.
Yeah, March, April.
And that was before the whole Black Lives Matter thing started to like really build momentum. So the most annoying thing was being like, oh, I can't believe I've written a political track. I was really pissed off. And then that happens and you're like, dude, I thought I was pissed off.
But no, I'm pissed off.
Yeah, so I mean, COVID has just been like an absolute like, oh Jesus, forgot the word. Like, a catalyst. Has been a complete catalyst for some of the people's best ideas and like some of the absolute worst in people. And to be honest, it stops you from getting angry at it stops you from getting angry at what's going on. There's just so much in the world at the moment, you know. It kind of reveals it and stops you getting so mad at feeling bad for your industry.
Which one of you has a shorter fuse?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's gonna be you.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be me. We go different levels of short fuse. Milk will get. I mean, you might go reclusive and curl up on the sofa and not bother. Whereas I'll be looking up how to build firearms or something. And,
yeah.
Yeah. And what actually helps you control all that rage or all those emotions that we felt over the last couple of months that just kind of confused us, and we wanted to find some positivity, and it was a bit more difficult than usually.
I don't think there was any control, to be honest. I think the only reason that I personally don't do something stupid is because I'm not man enough. So I get to, the music is the outlet for it. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of like themes of aggression and, you know, wanting to cross certain thresholds of what's an acceptable way to release your aggression in the music. I honestly, I think that's something that people relate to as well. I think you can have so many songs about like, you know, boy being sad over girl or whatever, and that's a relatable feeling. But I mean, like to touch on bands like Slipknot that are kind of more of that primal energy, or like, you know, maybe the Prodigy don't say it, you feel it in the music, you know, all those things where it's kind of like, I just think having some music that kids can relate to and people can relate to, where they're like, no, you know what, it's not good enough for me to be like, your opinion is your opinion. It's like, I want to fucking like strangle you. You know, I wish there were more songs like that I could relate to. Because you know what the music's like, man. You walk down the street in a bad mood, you listen to the song that sounds like how you feel, and then it starts to dissipate, doesn't it? Like, you know, I find like music is like some really good at kind of like discharging negative energy, but to write songs that discharge negative energy, you kind of have to
channel into it for a while.
Yeah, you have to lean into it. And I find positivity is great, but I think if you find positivity in a negative scenario, sometimes you forget that there's a negative scenario and you don't confront the negative scenario and you don't deal with it. And like, you know, life is just problem solving, isn't it? And the music is kind of just talking to yourself while you problem solve when you write. That's all you do, I guess.
And hoping that other people like your self musings.
Yeah, hoping they relate to it.
Yeah.
And as I said, I've enjoyed your video clips surrounding the music. And again, touching on all that free time that we had recently, what are the films that helped you pass the restrictions too?
We actually started building up our physical DVD collection again. I'm just looking at it now. It's getting a bit too tall. I feel like it's going to start falling over at any point. Yeah.
Film-wise,
I've watched Purple Rain like 6 times in the past 2 months.
Influences.
Yeah, Prince influences me. Because he's fucking great.
Okay.
And he's fit. And he's good at everything that he does. And he's the fucking greatest guitar player of all time. I'll not go anymore because I won't stop.
Yeah, film influences. I mean, like, so Backyard Bastards has quite a big Tarantino feel, but that wasn't an influence when we done it. But the interesting thing was, like, how a lot of Tarantino stuff works in the radio. Because I remember seeing, like, an interview with Jon Snow on the BBC with Tarantino, and it was on like way before the Watershed, like 5 p.m. This was years ago. And he's Jon Snow's asking him about, like, you know, violence in his films. Does he think it makes people violent? And he's like, no, because I'm not an idiot and kids aren't stupid. But it was interesting that was allowed on BBC. And then when we dropped Backyard Bastards, Ofcom kind of banned it because of the wanting to kill someone.
They were like,
content. No. But then it's kind of like you watch a Tarantino movie and the blood and the violence makes it fun. Like, let's be honest, violence is cool and it is fun to a certain degree in a movie, in a fictional story. So that was an interesting one where Tarantino wasn't directly an influence, but the way that he was allowed to exist within the media whilst being so violent and everything, and that was kind of his whole shtick. But when we do it, and the song sounds like a fucking Tarantino movie.
Ofcom says no.
Ofcom goes, no. That was an interesting one. I mean, movie-wise influences, we like a lot of old, like, 80s and 90s based anime. You know, like Akira, that whole kind of, like, post-apocalyptic end of the world
We went to see Akira in the IMAX recently. It was fucking intense. Like, I thought I was going to have a mental breakdown. It was so fucking
We're not
good.
really, like, you know, like Star Wars and shit is fun and all that, but we're not really kind of we like films that have, like, a story and, like, a history and a narrative you can follow, like, beyond just the actual fictional tale.
Yeah.
Akira's a fun one because it seems super weeby when everyone's going on, oh, look out, he's got the power of God and all that. But then when you think about it, it was written by a guy who grew up after, like, Nagasaki and Hiroshima were bombed. So, of course, there's going to be themes in their fictional writing where the bad guys have unlimited God power. You know, things like that. And then that's quite inspiring. I also like Ghost in the Shell as an anime, just to, like, explore autonomy off the back of that one. Ex Machina, AI, Automata, Chappie, Blade Runner. We're quite big sci-fi nerds. And then also, I mean, I'm a massive, like, fucking, like, Gladiator nerd and, like, Lord of the Rings and shit. Because, like, it's sometimes, you notice people like Gerard Way do it in their lyrics a lot for My Chemical Romance, probably because he's a comic writer. You know, sometimes in a comic that someone could just say, like...
Perfect one-liner.
Yeah, it's just, like, a one-liner out of context. Doesn't mean anything, but it just sounds badass. I noticed a lot of people like Gerard and some stuff like that. And who's the other one? Can't remember. We'll stick with Gerard for now. Like, in a band.
Oh, in a band.
Like Gerard Way does this thing where, like, he might have some cool, like, really good lyrics and the story's brilliant. Then out of nowhere, he'll just have some, like, cool, badass line. And I find that when you watch those pseudo-manly fantasy films.
There was a really good one-liners.
Yeah, when Russell Crowe's standing there, like, you know, leather shouting, like,
"Are you not entertained?"
Yeah, oh my command, unleash hell. And it's like, it's funny because, like, it seems cheesy, but then if you put it at the right time in a song,
it's badass.
Or shout it on stage in front of loads of people, everyone's like, yo, this guy's metal as fuck. And I'm like, you're all fucking nerds. That was the quote, you know?
So that leads me to my next question. I want to confront you actually with a rumor. Your fans are guessing that your next release is going to be a green screen home adaptation, an angry one of Home Alone. Is that happening?
I love that theory.
Wait, Home Alone or Homo Alone? They're two very different films.
We've already done a green screen video, and we only did it because we had to, and I'm not going to do it again.
No, we're going to do both. We're going to do both. Milk's going to be Macaulay Culkin, and I am once again just going to reprise my role as Russell Crowe in my day-to-day life. It'll be Home Alone featuring the Gladiator.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a great. I mean, to be honest, that'd probably be a fucking good video.
That'd be a great.
I'd watch that music video. Mm-hmm. Checked out this band. What's the music video? Home Alone, but with Gladiator.
Will definitely make my Christmas more merry.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe Bruce Willis can show up.
Bruce Willis can show up with his man.
He's Christmas themed, isn't he?
That Die Hard's a Christmas movie. We all know
Everyone knows it is.
Everyone knows it.
Yeah. I want to wrap up with a look to the future. You have already 7 singles out. One of them is a cover. Can we talk about an EP, an album, something to come out in 2021?
Maybe. I mean, we want to do an album. It's just, I think, because we've been quite lucky. I mean, we only do this for fun because it's a good outlet. That's it. Like, fuck. You know, I don't really like playing the game of, like, let's do this, let's get more fans and all that shit. We do this for fun. And I think sometimes because of how lucky we've been and how quickly it's caught on, people forget that We've only been a band.
We've only just started.
For like just over a year. So, bands like 1975 took 10 years to develop before you got their debut album. So we're obviously not going to take that fucking long. But, people need to give us some time to actually discover what we want Wargasm to be, and to get to the point where instead of going, oh, this song's sick, let's release it, we go, this song's sick, let's not release it, let's save it, bank it, because it fits cohesively with that one we wrote the other week that's also sick. It's 2020 and 2021, and like all of the 20s are not going to, potentially going forward, are not going to be terrain for albums to like be a necessity. You can build like an entire career pretty much of singles now. So when you do an album, as with everything we do, it has to be a labour of love, and you have to be prepared for it to be irrelevant 3 weeks after you release it, but you don't care and your fans don't care. You guys just love it, That's when it'll come. I mean, we're definitely going to do some like CDs and vinyls and stuff like that. I would like to have some of our music on a physical thing.
There's a physical release, yeah.
I just don't know if it'll be a coherent body of work that,
So with all those teases, I have to just keep on following you and hopefully even catch you live sooner than later. But it's going to be a very Wargasm Christmas. Is there anything, guys, that you want to share with friends and listeners before we say goodbye?
We're on the Youngblood tour for the next couple of weeks or so. So you can get like $5 tickets for that. We play Rage All Over, and we play an unreleased song as well. So if you're lucky enough, we do. Oh, yeah. So if you're lucky enough, you might catch that set in which we play those two together. What else have we got coming up?
Just trying to work out if there's anything I'd like to share.
Any little teasers? You can. I always get in trouble when I say things like teasers, so you can fuck.
No, I'm good.
Keep watching.
I'm good. Keep streaming. Good bands. Keep streaming good bands.
There
was a lot of bands towards the end of last year that I thought were really good, then people started streaming bad bands. And the more you stream good bands, the more they release songs. The more good bands release songs, the more I can listen to them. The more I listen to them, the more I can rip them off, then release better songs.
Yeah.
Okay, Sam and Milkie of Wargasm, thank you very much for sharing your world with us. Hopefully we'll see you on the stage very, very soon. If not, on the screen on the stage.
Thank you very much, mate.
It's a pleasure to talk to you.